Привit. I'm Chuck Olenek, a Ukrainian-American who was baptized with the name Yaroslav, which is also the name I use in the historical reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism. I made a decision to try to bring Slavic folklore and mythology and a bit of Rus history to a wider audience, and I decided I'd use this video format, and we'll see how successful that is. So I've been retelling the tales of various heroes. In Slavic folklore, the heroes are called the Bogatyr, and these are the big three. The guy in the middle, that's Ilya of Murom. And the one on the right is Alyosha Popovich. And the subject of our tale today is the one on the left, Dobrynya Nikitich, and his adventure with the evil Princess Marina. Who would tell us of the things of old, and of the things that have been, of Dobrynya, the son of Nikita, of the brave Bogatyr Dobrynya Nikitich, and of the vile Princess Marina Ignatievna? From far, very far in the open steppes, and farther yet in the valley, fled the herd of beasts, of wild beasts and serpents. At their head ran the Skyper beast, with woolly hide, crumpled horns, and little hooves of steel. The Skyper beast fled to the Dnipro river, and all the Dnipro's waters were troubled. Its fair, steep banks quaked. The delicate treetops fell to the earth in concert, brothers, for they heard of that birth. For in the lands of Rus, young Dobrynya Nikitich was born that day. When Dobrynya at last grew to man's estate, 3 years he feasted, 3 years he served as steward, 3 more stood as keeper of the gate. Yet no fair word did he win of Volodymyr or soft bread, but only a good steed. In the 10th year, courteous Prince Volodymyr made a great feast in royal Kiev town, whereat many heroes, many Bogatyri, many bold warrior maidens were assembled, eating and drinking merrily and making brag. Young Dobrynya Nikitich sat at the end of the oaken board and spoke. Fair son Volodymyr of royal Kiev, I have served thee faithfully and long in thy princely court. Grant me leave now to wander about Kiev through its narrow lanes. Fly not forth, young sparrow, answered Prince Volodymyr. Young Dobrynya, gallop not away. The Bogatyri assembled offered this wisdom. Ask thy mother, the widow, Dobrynya. Gain her permission. This Dobrynya did, and his mother, the honorable widow Efimia Alexandrovna, counseled him. Walk through all the streets of Kiev town, roam the little alleys at thy will. Only go not to the vile Princess Marina Ignatievna, who dwelleth in a certain little lane. She is a witch. She hath murdered prince upon prince, 9 Russian heroes, clear falcons all, and common folk without number. If thou goest to that Marina, thou wilt lose thy life, Dobrynya Nikitich. The next day, Dobrynya rose right early, washed himself very white in spring water, took up his stout bow, his quiver of fiery arrows, and set out. As he wandered through the streets and many narrow lanes, he shot small sparrows on the halls, blue doves upon the chambers, and so wandering came at last to Marina's lane. Her palace was richly adorned. In her window sat a dark blue dove, and his mate cooing yellow bill to yellow bill, mouth to mouth, with wing and folding wing. And it pleased not Dobrynya that they should sit thus. He strung a silken cord to his bow, and fitted it thereto a flaming arrow, and shot at the dove and his mate. The cord sang on the stout bow, but his left foot slipped, his right hand trembled. The arrow struck not the dove and mate, but flew straight to the lofty palace, through the lattice window, to Marinushka the vile, and slew Tugarin, dragon's son, her dear friend, who was with her. Dobrynya sought to recover his fiery arrow. He entered with haste the spacious court, and with courtesy the new halls. Fairly came he into the new chamber, and took his fiery arrow. Marina lay upon a couch. In her right hand was a fiery dragon, on her left 2 little serpents. She took Dobrynya by his white hand, by his silver ring, kissed his sugar mouth, and said, "Ah, sweet Dobrynya Nikitich, give me thy love." Dobrynya made answer, "Sweet Marinushka Ignatievna, I will not. Thou hast slain 9 mighty Russian heroes, and art minded to slay me likewise." Then he turned from the new chamber, and went forth into the spacious court, and so home to his mother. Up sprang Marinushka then, seized her dagger, and hacked Dobrynya's footsteps, flung them into the oven painted with many devices, and conjured them with a powerful incantation. "Burn, ye footsteps of Dobrynya, burn in this oven of many hues, and may his spirit likewise burn within him for me. As I cut these footsteps, may Dobrynya's dear little heart cut for me." This cut Dobrynya's heart. At evening he ate nothing. At midnight he slumbered not, and waited only for the white dawn. Early rang the bells, and very early he arose, girt on a sharp sword, and went to the cathedral to service, and thence to Marina's dwelling. When he came to the princess, he bowed low before her, but she rose not, sat in discourteous wise, and returned not his salutation. "Ay, sweet Marinushka, give me thy love," he said. "What need is there for thee, young Dobrynya, to jest and to make merry over me? Long since I sought thy love, and thou lovest me not. Now thou cravest it of me. Now thou art in my hands. If I will, I can turn thee into a magpie, a raven, a pig, or an oryx with golden horns, silver hooves, and velvet hide, or into a frog of the underworld, and from that last estate there is no return forever." Then Marina transformed him into a brown oryx, and sent him forth into the open plain to drink swamp water and to eat marsh grass, to be chief over the 9 brown oryx who roamed there, the mighty heroes her bridegrooms. And as Dobrynya roamed there, a golden-horned oryx, he espied a flock of geese, which belonged to Avdotia Ivanovna, his beloved aunt. All these he did trample underfoot to the last gosling. Then the gooseherds came and made complaint. "Ay, young Avdotia Ivanovna, an oryx with golden horns hath trampled underfoot all our geese. Not one hath he left us." After them followed the keepers of the swans, the shepherds, herdsmen, with the same complaint. Not a living creature of all their flocks and herds had the golden oryx spared. Then Avdotia Ivanovna spoke. "That oryx with the golden horns, that is my beloved nephew, young Dobrynya, whom Marina the vile hath transformed." She rose in wrath, turned herself into a magpie, and flew to Marina the vile, perched in her lattice window, and chastised Marina, demanding that she return Dobrynya to his proper form, lest Marina herself be transformed into a long-tailed dog. that the children would pursue. Then Marina saw that there was no help for it and transformed herself into a gray swallow and flew to the open plain. And she found the golden oryx and sat upon the horns and chattered, "Swear to me, Dobrynya Nikitich, swear now a great oath to take the golden crown with me, to wed me with Marinushka, and I will turn thee back from a golden horned oryx to thine own shape again." "Ah, sweet Marinushka," Dobrynya answered, "only turn me from this form, and I will take that great oath. I will wed thee, Marina, and I will even give thee the little lessons wherewith a husband instructeth his wife." Then Marina believed him and turned him into a goodly youth as of old. "Now I must wed thee about a bush, Marinushka," he said, "about a willow bush in the open plain, the steppe." So 3 times around the willow bush they paced, and Dobrynya called Marina his wife, and they set out for fair royal Kiev town. When they were come to Marina's lofty palace, Dobrynya commanded a servant, "My trusty servant, bring me a cup of green wine, and bring me my sharp sword." The trusty servant gave him very quickly a sharp sword. The cup of wine he quaffed not, but brandished his sword and cut off Marina's turbulent head for her ungentle deeds. In the morning, Dobrynya went to his warm steam bath, and thither came boyars, nobles. "Hail, Dobrynya Nikitich and thy bride," they said. "Hail, ye princes and nobles and boyars, and of all the court of Volodymyr Bright Sun. Last night I was wedded and no longer alone. Now I am single, no longer wedded. For I have cut off Marina's turbulent head for her ruthless deeds against the Russian people." It was at the feast I heard this tale. There it was I drank mead ale. Though it flowed down my beard, my mouth stayed dry, for never a drop passed my lips, swear I.